Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's midday weather outlook for the southern region brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. We begin first with an animation here showing infrared temperatures from the system that's moving across the central part of the United States over the last 24 hours. What I want to show you in this animation is a couple of things. We have actually two separate waves here. So the lead wave was here, which is what made much of the southeast quite soggy over the last 24 hours and is continuing this morning to drop quite a bit of rainfall right here along the southeast coast. Secondly, this is actually a two-part system. The second piece is the wave that's coming out here in the north central plains. We're going to talk about this for two different reasons. One is the additional rainfall we just got out of it, and two, what is it going to be doing to our temperatures in the near term? But before we leave here, do you see this piece right in through here? This long, elongated region of very high, very cold cloud that extends all the way, way out here in the Pacific, clear over to the southeast. That has been a dominant feature of our winter so far, and it is the kind of the manifestation here of what's called the subtropical jet stream. So every time I keep showing you and talking to you about that, that's what it actually looks like. Just thought I'd point that out. But this is what we've gotten over the last 3 days in terms of total accumulated precipitation. And again, we've added across already very saturated ground from parts of Kansas through Missouri back into Arkansas, and then over this entire quadrant in through here, we just added an additional, in some locations, 3/4 of an inch, to some places up almost to 2 inches or more of rainfall. So as of early this morning, the rain was pretty far over here to the east and it was on its way out. But before we go much farther with rainfall, I want to talk about temperatures, because for the first time in a while, we're actually going to see some below average temperatures for more than just a day or two. So when we look back over the last 60 days, that map over there on the left shows us our departure from normal. And we know that it has been a very, very warm winter for most of the eastern half of North America, but specifically for our southern region down here. So I decided to create a time series. That's what you're seeing over here on the right. And it's going to be for this area right in through here. That's the spot that we're doing this for. So we can see the very warm September we had, the colder, much colder than average air that came in here at the end of October and beginning of November. But if you just notice after that, anytime there's been a brief shot of colder air, that's all that it's been, is brief, and we've spent much more time well above average. Well, this might be the first decent stretch of some cooler weather that we've seen in a long time. But I want to make sure that everybody's not overly worried about this, because what I'm showing you here, this takes us back to 2017. Now, we're probably going to remember 2017 more for the massive hurricanes, but let's come back to early in the season. See this bullet point right here? March 14th through the 16th of 2017. So, of course, this is about 15 to 20 days from now. But in 2017, during that time period, we had a nasty freeze event that went through parts of the southeast. Now, I want to show you what that one looked like. Highly amplified jet stream pattern. Now, you're looking at the winds in the lower level, but what the winds were doing was in the upper levels, huge ridge out west and a deep plunging trough here across the east. Low pressure center sitting over the northeast, and some of the colder air that had made it all the way down here to the Gulf Coast and to the Atlantic coast actually began life, if you trace it back, clear up here in the Arctic. It was incredible to see where that cold air was coming from, and it really was a snap freeze event after a very warm start to the year. So what are we seeing right now? Well, our early morning lows this morning on Tuesday, not quite that cool, but if we just play this forward, let's see how things get tomorrow morning. What we're going to pay close attention to is this freezing line in through here. So some pretty cold air coming into the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, back into New Mexico. But as we watch, we're going to see that by Thursday morning, our freezing line does make it pretty far to the south here. This is now getting into Friday. That'll be the coldest day, I think, for parts of the southeast. And then getting into Saturday, we start to see the rebounding in temperatures. But still, these are below average for this time of year. And on Sunday, again, you can see it there, some cooler air that's in place. But you'll see that by the time we get out into next week, the temperatures are already beginning to moderate. So over the next 5 days, so this gets us out, of course, until Saturday evening, we see the cooler weather definitely in place here, averaging as much as 5 degrees below average. That's an average, by the way. We will have daily temperature anomalies that could be up to 20 degrees cooler than average, but it's a quick shot of cooler air coming through. But things rebound relatively quickly in the day 5 through 10 time period as the colder air goes back to Alaska, and we start to see some changes in the North Pacific with the position and strength of a ridge there. And so it's probably the longest duration shot at cooler air that we've had in a while, but It's nothing quite like the cold air shot that we had a few years ago, which cost actually billions of dollars in damage in the citrus crop in the southeast. So I just want to point out some contrast there, but tell you we do have some colder air coming in with temperatures getting below freezing all the way down to almost to the coast on each side here. So the Gulf Coast and the southeast coast into the Atlantic. Okay, let's take a look at precipitation next. So this is early this morning. There it is. We see it kind of exiting by middle afternoon off the southeast coast here. You can still see lingering showers and storms moving through parts of central Florida. Now on the backside of this, wave number 2 pushes through Kansas. See it through here? Possibly bringing some snow into Oklahoma and into northern Texas. But the main show for this is going to be up here in parts of the Midwest. So getting us out to early tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, pulling through the day on Wednesday. That second wave finally moves through, widely scattered showers in and around from Tennessee right through the Appalachian Mountains, getting back into Mississippi. And then there's a lead front out here that's going to be pushing some showers through parts of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. So this is now Wednesday afternoon, getting you through the overnight hours on Wednesday, and that system has finally kind of pulled its way on out here. Now we see middle of the week after this goes through, maybe some drier times that are ahead of us, but let's take a look at how much precipitation we're going to get out of this system as we watch it leave here by Sunday. So here's a snapshot through Saturday night on total accumulated precipitation. Because we see most of this is over the southeast, we're going to just come over here and zoom in and take a look at some of these numbers. So the place that might be the wettest through Saturday night would be this region into here, which you've now seen has multiple chances of getting rainfall, possibly 1 inch to 2 inches right in through here. But as the system pulls through, widespread 1/3 of an inch to 1/2 inch of rainfall. Some locations maybe getting some locally heavier amounts on the backside of this as it leaves this morning. Okay, so after that, what are we watching? Well, I'm going to take you right to 6 a.m. on March the 3rd. Now remember, we've been watching this ridge and its connection to the 2 troughs that have been sitting here over the north. So one over the Arctic, the other one here over parts of Greenland. We are going to see here next Tuesday 2 things I want to keep a close eye on. One is this short wave, and 2 is that short wave. Out ahead of it, look at the ridge that's in place here over the southeast. So that's the warm-up that occurs almost immediately after the system exits by the end of this week. But with these 2 systems waiting in the wings, they're going to be creating some havoc midweek next week, and we better go take a close look at that. So let's get over to our European model to see that system. Okay, so we've already watched this. This was the leftover rains this morning across the southeast and the Atlantic coast there, and let's watch it. Get on out. Watch that again with me. Here we go. Pause it right here. All right, so by the time we get into Thursday morning, there we go, we could see on the backside of this some snow in the Appalachian Mountains, but high pressure tries to build in, and this will be when we have the coolest air in place across the southeast. It lasts through Thursday, getting into Friday. Look at the drier air that's in place, and just don't be surprised if on Friday midday we get some light showers, possibly mixed with some snow in Tennessee and Kentucky. This is a little wave on the backside of the bigger trough that's sitting here that might possibly bring in that light precipitation into that area. Okay, see that on Saturday night hitting the Appalachian Mountains. And then by the time I get into Saturday morning, still high pressure and control here, but we're just watching the back side of this possibly kicking off a little bit more light rain or possibly light snow in the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, so after that, let's now get into the weekend. You see things are relatively dry until we get out to March 2nd and March 3rd. It's the same old thing, right? High pressure slides off the southeast coast. Return moisture comes through the Gulf of Mexico. Those 2 deep waves are digging into the west. And what we see is by afternoon on a Monday, widespread showers, possibly thunderstorm activity here. And as this moves through from Monday afternoon into Monday evening, getting into Tuesday, I'm starting to get concerned about how much heat and moisture we're transporting into this next system. Because this could be watching, again, we're watching next week now. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. I'm going to keep a close eye on this region for potentially having some strong to severe storms. So watch this. This is Tuesday afternoon. There's my main region I'm mostly concerned about for this severe weather from Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. Then getting into Wednesday morning, afternoon, and evening. This could be a multi-day severe weather event we're going to have to watch down here. It's a deep wave that's coming through, plenty of moisture transport, which means we're going to have the wind shear in place and the instability. So I'm getting quite concerned about that. Now we're pretty far out in a single operational model run. So what I'm just telling you is watch next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as a potential for very active time period stretching from Texas eventually all the way over to the Carolina coast. So if we just take a look and zoom in only on next week, you can see the influence of those troughs that are digging in this area. Exciting, a large low pressure system that's going to keep this section of the country wetter than average. Now this time period you're seeing here is March 3rd all the way through March 10th. So that's still showing us wetter than average conditions during that time period. Okay, what I want to finish with in this video is an important transition we've been noticing in the models. I've been discussing how the ridge that's been currently pushing into the Gulf of Alaska is forecast to move back to the west over the Aleutian Islands, and that is letting the deeper trough extend out to the west like this and more ridging here over this side of the United States. Well, you know what that ridging means in terms of your temperatures, okay? But what does it mean in terms of precipitation? Brand new, just released last night, very late last night. This is now looking at March the 5th, so that's about 10 days from now, March the 5th through Saturday, April the 4th. Okay, so this is about a 1 month time period from March 5th to April 5th. Let's just call it April 5th. And what I've noticed here in the forecast is with that retreating ridge in this direction, we are changing up the pattern, again, bringing that broader trough like this. And that is a pattern when combined with the subtropical jet stream continues to keep this region wet. And that is a region that has been absolutely hammered now since the start of the new year. And you know what this does, right? Look at what it does to our temperatures. And that particular flow pattern is one that we saw last spring as well. So I'm watching this very, very carefully because it is setting itself up for the southeast, for the mid-Atlantic, for the mid-south to be quite wet. Let's keep a close eye on it together and keep monitoring, all right? So again, this is March 5th through April 5th. Let's just think about that time period. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up and hope that you'll have a good rest of your week. We'll talk to you again tomorrow morning with our long-range update. Thank you.